Human rights abuses in Nazi Germany. Part 1, The Treaty of Versailles. When a war ends, the winners present the losers with a treaty that sets out a list of conditions that need to be obeyed in order to keep the peace. After the end of World War I, 1914 to 1918, delegates from the Allied powers met at the Palace of Versailles outside Paris to discuss the terms to be presented to Germany. It took 6 months to finalize because the Big Three, France, Britain, USA, could not agree on what should happen to Germany. George Clemenceau, France. France had suffered huge casualties during the war and the French wanted Germany to take the blame for it. The Western Front cut across France and destroyed villages, farmlands and infrastructure. The cost to recover would be huge and Clemenceau wanted Germany to pay for it. Clemenceau wanted to destroy the German army in order to protect France from future attacks. David Lloyd George, Britain. Lloyd George also wanted to break Germany's military strength. Although the British public wanted revenge, and Lloyd George had promised to make Germany pay, he was worried that if the treaty was too harsh, it would crush Germany. Germany had been an important trade partner before the war, and Lloyd George wanted to continue trading with them after the war. Woodrow Wilson, USA. Wilson wanted a treaty which brought about a peace that would last. He knew that Germany must be punished, but not so much so that Germany couldn't recover or would seek revenge in the future. The Germans. Throughout the process of drawing up the treaty, Germany was ignored. Their delegates were banned from attending the meetings, and they had no say in the negotiations. When the Germans were eventually given a copy of the treaty, they were horrified. They objected and tried to make changes, but the Allied powers wouldn't allow it. No German wanted to sign the treaty, but it was forced upon them under threat of war. The Treaty of Versailles was finally signed on June 28, 1919. 5 years to the day after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The Treaty of Versailles had 440 conditions. Article 231, the War Guilt Clause, forced Germany to accept blame for starting the war, even though Austria started it. Article 232 required Germany to accept financial responsibility for the war, and pay $55 billion in reparations. This debt took 91 years to pay off. Germany was only allowed a small army of 100,000 men, a navy consisting of 6 battleships, but no submarines, and no air force. They were not allowed to buy weapons or ammunition or half-tanks or heavy artillery. The German Rhineland, along the border with France, was to be demilitarized, leaving Germany vulnerable to attack. Germany lost about 10% of its land, which was given to other European countries, including important industrial regions. Germany's colonies were taken away. Germany was not allowed to unite with Austria, even though many Austrians, like Hitler, were German-speaking and wanted close ties with the fatherland. German reaction to the treaty. During World War I, ordinary Germans were convinced by propaganda that they were invincible. They absolutely expected to win the war. When they were defeated, they couldn't accept it. They felt that someone must have betrayed them. The people blamed the politicians, the generals blamed the communists, Hitler blamed the Jews. The Germans felt that they had been stabbed in the back. They called it a diktat, a dictated peace, because they had no say in it. Hitler gained a lot of popularity by promising to overturn the hated Treaty of Versailles.